for reporting to them. So that's what's going on. That's why they didn't have the report.
So you're gonna directly report to the state now?
We have before, everything, but they just switching to a new system, so we're in the process of figuring it out and all.
Okay,
And it's all volunteers, so, you know, people only have so much time to work on it.
sure.
It'll get done.
It'll get there.
It'll get there eventually.
Right, you got the fire marshal's report. Conducted a walkthrough at Sunrise Mill to discuss potential fire alarm upgrades. Began working on the township EOP and REP for the upcoming limerick drill in November. He sent heat stress informational graphics to township officials for use on social media. So you should be able to see those on Facebook or the township website. He began working on an emergency contact form, continued to work on various fire alarm issues inside the township, and a new fire pump is operational at Frederick Living, which should hopefully settle down some of these false calls to Frederick Living. That was the root of the problem after all. All right. Water sewer report, Mr. Miller, or Landis?
Plants are running good, no violations to report. I don't think you got the June's report though, did you?
No, sir.
I didn't either, so. It was probably the short week with the holiday, she just didn't get it out.
Okay. All
I'll
right.
follow up and make sure she gets it to you.
Well, how's everything going?
Good, the rain hasn't been too bad
Okay.
with everything. I got called in for a couple power outages, you know, I had to stop, go and check the plant. Perkiomen, you gotta reset the VFDs because they're electronic, so they trip anytime power outage. But
Okay.
it's no big deal, I live close, so.
Yeah. Those flight mixers that we had spoke about last
Yes.
time, I guess a couple months ago, did you get any information?
I've been going through the logbooks trying to find them. Record keeping's not very good, and like, I don't have files just one flight mixer, so I'm going through the logbooks. I started at 2022, and I think from there to 23, we replaced just one. So I'm just gonna keep on going, and I'll go back further, and I'll get you that information.
I did some looking on that there. As you know, that's been just a thorn in my side here, trying to figure out what we can do there financially to help those people out. $20,000 to replace 2 pumps seems outrageous. And what I did find is for around $2,900, we can get those pumps repaired.
Wow.
Yeah, and we did that in the past. So I was gonna ask you, how long you've been handling the plants down there? That we stopped doing it and just bought it?
I only ever got one repaired, and I had, that was in 2023. All the other things, the engineering firm, Sachs took care of everything.
Okay.
I only ever took one to Tyson, which now they're not in business anymore
Right, but these ones didn't go to Tyson. This one here went to a company in Bluebell, and we did it 3 times.
though. Oh, that was Flake themselves.
Mhm. I was just wondering, was there something wrong with these pumps this time, that we had to buy 2 new ones instead of just repairing them?
No, the one had I think both of them might just have burned out motors.
That wouldn't have been a repairable one that we could have just sent to Bluebell, or I found another company in Malvern too, that does even cheaper.
I was always told through Rick that the price of a repair was just a little less than a new one. So that's why.
Okay, that was 2 places I found for $3,000. And then when I went back and looked, we paid 20-some thousand, actually we paid $20,640. I about fell out of my seat. So I was just wondering, but we did it 3 times, 2015, 2017, and 2020.
Okay.
We did it 3 times, we repaired them for $3,000. That's why I was looking for those reports to see if we were paying $20,000 all these times, where would all that other money have gone? You know what I mean? So, and they're cheaper than that, it's $517 in freight. So I was just wondering about that.
Are we getting those other 2 then done?
I would like to. I had them shipped to another place, just, you know, to get a repair number on them, and they were higher than the other 2, so I'm gonna pull them back and send them over there and most likely get them replaced that way.
At where, Malvern?
Malvern, yeah, it's a lot cheaper.
That was,
Over it's a shop owned by the actual maker of the pumps.
Yeah,
Is that called Exelum or something?
yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Okay. I was
That's
just
good, good. Because
Okay.
it was always too, is that they couldn't get the motor. So it was like, they could get the whole flight mixer quicker than they could get the motor.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing, but maybe they're,
Well, I looked into that too, it's funny you brought that up, because I approved this to be paid, I think, in like, June. We were talking about it, we actually cut the check in September, we got the motor. I have an email, I think it's from, it's from February 6th of
yeah, it took them a
25
long time.
to get the motor here, and I was just thinking, man, we could have probably sent that over there, got it repaired or whatever, in a couple of weeks, couple of months' time, saved probably 15,000 in the process, would have been a little bit better, but now I'm more aware, so we'll do that moving forward. Okay. So water, sewer there, Public Works, Aaron gave you a brief on what they had done here with the storms recently, came in, cleared the roads, obviously we had some flooding issues, the boys come in, knocked it out for us. These guys come from over in Pottstown, and there was supposedly a tornado that touched down over there, and those guys came here to help us. So I wanted to give them guys a shout out there. Then we got a real nice email from them. Young lady called up, she had some problems where someone dumped some trash inside of our township. She was gonna clean up herself, but it was just way too much, so the guys went out and took care of it. And she wrote a real nice letter, saying she wanted to thank our hardworking road crew. They came out immediately, cleaned everything up. And she just wanted to thank them from all the hard work that they do. It's not just with this trash, but with the water issues on Swiftford Road and Yost down there. But they diligently work on the water issues and make the township just generally work great. And she loves all the township officials that are working for her. So I wanted to read that for those guys there so they know that people in the township definitely appreciate the hard work they put in for us.
We did file a state police illegal dumping complaint for that as well.
That was one of those 18 police calls. The guy threw his trash out on our property, but he forgot to take his name off the box.
Oh, nice.
Kind of like running from a crime scene in the snow, you know? So that was Public Works. Parks and Rec on here? Yeah, they're at the bottom. Go ahead, Norm, you're up next, bud.
Okay. Apologies, I did not update the engineer's report for July. I have a reminder on my Outlook to remind a week ahead of time. I was on vacation. I got my reminder to send out the engineer's report while I was on vacation, so I apologize for that. However, looking over the June update, there really isn't a whole lot of new information there. I can say 3Dog just started submitting shop drawings, so we're taking a look at those, and that construction should start soon. They did have their pre-construction meeting with PennDOT and Conservation District. But like I said, the shop drawings will start coming in for us, and we'll be out there inspecting as needed. And then lastly, the Dick subdivision, lot line change, spoke with Aaron before the meeting. That was submitted to the county for their review. They may or may not be on PC agenda for July, but if not, it is essentially it's just a lot line change just to get a proper side yard setback for someone that way back when installed a driveway and it literally was either on the line or like within 2 feet, and they just wanted some space so the neighbors must get along, and they just did a lot line shift. It's not a real big project. There's no construction, no anything like that. It's just to, you know, make them more compliant. So I'll give you an update on that as needed. Other than that, that's really it as far as the engineer's report at this point.
Did we get a report from John?
For LTL, she was weed whacking the front of the building
Down
this
there?
afternoon. She wasn't, she had somebody there
Yeah,
at the inn,
I had a real
The
nice
front yard.
conversation this past week about that.
but just the front yard, not the mess.
We're working on that next, trust me.
But just that she had somebody there tonight.
Yeah, yep. That's for the Perkiomen Hotel property is what Mr.
Yeah.
Hanson's talking about.
She's finally, she had somebody, I don't know how far he was going, but he was weed whacking out in front of the building.
Yeah. We did have some just regular standard permits get processed this month?
Yeah, John was picking up a lot of slack. There were a couple other vacations in the office, I believe. He's just running behind on that report as well.
Yeah.
I apologize.
But
I'll check.
it was relatively business as usual, you know, a couple of issues, but John was able to get those solved for us.
Yep, you and those basic standard stuff. Planning Commission, Mr. Marriott here, or no, he didn't come back, right?
No.
Buck, you wanna talk about Planning Commission or anything? You got any news for us, or?
Sure, we're still discussing the possible amendment to the current solar ordinance. We're discussing elder cottages. I think the county's like in favor of doing things like that, so we're talking about that. And we're working on reducing the amount of stormwater management that the existing citizens in the township have to deal with. You know, maybe like a sliding scale or something, but we're discussing that kind of stuff. And the other thing is the SALDO, the preliminary plan submission process, you know, when it comes to easements and sewers and infrastructure, you know, easements, and so we're tightening that up.
Okay. Central Perk, Bill, anything going on? Nothing going on? Yeah, Bob's over right there.
Section 250 or paragraph 250.
Yeah,
Here after that.
okay.
We'll be hearing more about it.
Parks and Rec, they're just basically getting ready, is someone here from Parks and Rec? I should say that. I didn't see Miss Harper tonight, or anybody else. Hey, Miss Lisa, you're there. Parks and Rec update on us?
We are moving forward with planning for Community Day, which will be on October 4th this year. So we've got quite a few volunteers helping out, and the calls are starting to get, you know, people to attend the artisans and get things in place for Community Day.
All right, perfect. I did get an email and a donation for the Park and Rec Committee with just a thank you for maintaining, and this goes to Park and Rec too, or I'm sorry, Public Works, the Roads Department. Thank you for maintaining Spillhofer Dog Park. Please use the funds towards that effort. It was a donation for $100, you know, and every little bit helps, obviously. But that was just another person who's appreciative of our Roads Department taking care of the township here. All right. New business. We gotta have a discussion on approval of a purchase card program, and we need to have a motion on that.
Are you skipping one?
No, what did
You're
I,
skipping open space.
where? Is it not on my sheet here?
You have an old printed out one, I think. So the next agenda item was open space. We have Natural Lands here. They were going to briefly talk us through the draft ordinance, I believe.
Do you want me to plug in here?
If you want to, I don't think you need to at this point. We can basically talk about, you know, the ordinance and the process moving forward, I think.
Sure. I'm Kate Rahman from Natural Lands. I'm a conservation project manager.
And I'm Jack Stefford, I'm the senior advisor for marine protection. Which basically means I've been around for a long time.
If you're not familiar with Natural Lands, we have about 23,000 acres of land open to the public. We encourage you all to visit. We also hold conservation easements on land. We do work with municipalities to start an open space program if they're interested, and we were asked by the township to consider a referenda for open space. I have a chart here of other municipalities in Montgomery County that have an established open space tax. I can go through it, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that currently have either an open space tax, dedicated tax for open space, or a bond that they approved, that the voters approved. And I've got some maps of that. So we compared the township to your neighbors. So the first step of this process is really to see what kind of tax rates are comparable to yours. So we looked at Perkiomen, New Hanover, Worcester, and Lower Salford. And you have one of the lowest municipal earned income rates of all your neighbors. So the earned income tax is a percent of working folks' salaries that goes towards either your municipal budget or open space. So right now, your earned income tax rate is 0.5%. Perkiomen has 0.63, New Hanover has 0.65, Worcester has 1%, and Lower Salford has 1%. I should also note that if you reside in Upper Frederick and you work in a place that has a higher earned income rate, you usually pay the difference to the township with the higher rate. So what we're proposing is a 0.04% increase. So instead of 0.5%, you'd be at 0.54%. That's an annual increase per worker of about $21 per year, and that would give you $59,000 annually to be able to purchase open space. And I have the draft ballot question in front of me here if you want me to just read it. Most of the language here is prescribed to us by the enabling legislation. There's just one part we can customize, and we have done that with the township. The question is, do you favor the imposition of an increase in the earned income tax at the rate of 4/100 of 1%, 0.0004 or 0.04%, to be used by the township of Upper Frederick for the purpose of protecting the township's rural character? This is where the custom language comes in. Preserving clean water and wildlife habitat, and expanding the township's existing parks, to acquire interest in real property, to secure open space benefits, and for transaction fees incidental to such acquisitions, to retire indebtedness incurred in acquiring open space, and to expend funds for any purpose relating to the acquisition, planning for acquisition, preservation, improvement, or maintenance of an open space for an open space benefit.
And that was what on a yearly basis?
$59,000 per year.
Per person, did you say?
$21 per person.
$21 a year per person? Okay.
We had initially come in with a slightly higher increase that we
Oh, I
discussed
saw.
with the township, but we realized we wanted it to be lower. But that does only get you $59,000 per year. But after a few years, you accrue that. You could also, if a landowner was willing to donate land, that $59,000 annually could be used to offset any of the due diligence costs associated with a conservation project.
Sure. So I looked into this because when I ran in 21 with Mr. Croft, again in 23 with Mrs. Fisher, as we knocked on everybody's door, we asked everybody what their biggest concerns were, and it was the preservation of Upper Frederick as best we could. The number that initially came in here was much higher, to the point where I said I can't tell someone to pay a car payment, every month. Don't go on vacation one year. But this is a step in the right direction, and this was a solution to what everybody wanted. There is a couple other things we could do, but this one here was, coming in at $21 a year, I felt was something everybody could, probably palate, or it would be palatable to everybody. Does this affect people on fixed incomes, retirees, anything like that?
No, because it's only on earned income. So working folks, not retired folks, would be paying into it. We also have looked at some of the open space opportunities in the township, and I believe I left that map behind. Oh, it's in the back right there. So this is, again, just a quick snapshot. We haven't looked into it, and National Lands, I'm sure the township, we only work with willing landowners who are eager to preserve their land. But the orange is properties that are 15 acres or more that are not protected. And the green is your existing protected lands, of which you have quite a bit. The purple is areas that are in a riparian area, so a certain distance from your waterways or are afloat.
Okay. So this here was just tying up what we had promised this community we were going to try and get in here in ways of trying to help preserve Upper Frederick here. I just felt this was the time to move forward with it, with all the current development everybody's trying to come in with, and everybody wants to try and avoid, but it is unavoidable unless we put measures in place to combat it. this was just one way we could do it. So I appreciate you coming in and working with Aaron here on everything. I know the back and forth was a lot, so I do appreciate all the effort you put in.
Yeah, and if I might add just one thing, the real advantage of passing a referendum is it gives you a foot in the door. You know, you don't have to be the banker, and the fact is there are grants that are available to help out in other ways. And a little bit of money, you know, the fact that the township is willing to contribute to something makes an enormous difference if you're applying for grants to help preserve open space.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So if the township wants to proceed, you have a certain amount of time, you have to submit the ordinance to the County Board of Elections to get the question on the ballot. I believe that is coming up in the beginning of August. So John Marlott is the attorney at the County Board of Elections. He would submit the ordinance to if you were to approve.
Okay, I appreciate all that.
Can we ask a question?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, the $21 per person, what is that salary amount?
Oh, I have another way of looking at it for you if you like. I have it based on a $100,000 salary. That $21 per year is based on the number of workers you have in the municipality and how much they're contributing now. So that's how that was figured out. So the average worker in the township who is paying earned income tax already would pay an additional $21. But I also figured it out based on a $100,000 salary so that it's easy for people to figure out if you're paying more or less. So if you just give me a moment, I can look that up. Yeah, so if you are earning $100,000, you'd be paying about $40 more as opposed to 21. So it's the average salary is a little less than that, but if that is a guiding,
I was just curious.
number for you, that's what it would be.
So you could afford that day $40.
I don't have earned income.
Then you don't even have to worry about it.
Good job.
But yeah, so I do, I appreciate everything. This will definitely be on the ballot this year. We can all vote on it and hopefully start working towards a program here to help us preserve Upper Frederick, since it was one of the biggest concerns that we've gotten. I think we even did polls that were down at the meetings. I butcher this, but I think it was in 2015 and 2019. And 84% of the concern was preserving Upper Frederick's open space and land preservation here. And then that was followed up by stormwater management and protecting the water. So all this is out there for us all to see if we need it. Yes, sir, Mr. Crispin.
Thank you. My question is, if we go with, do they continue to follow us? So if like a grant does come available, and you don't have to use it immediately, it just sits in a kitty until something comes up available to purchase, is that kind of, you guys help us get set up and then you're out, or do you guide us continually?
If the township wants to hire us, we can be on retainer to an open space committee, but if you don't want to work with us, that's fine too. We can work with a township open space committee as closely or not closely as you'd like. Some committees are very able to do the work themselves, and others need help